Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, your weekend edition of what's trending in tech and gadgets. We've got five pretty huge stories this week. And honestly, the thread connecting them all seems to be how fast the digital and physical worlds are starting to blend together.
It really feels like a convergence point, doesn't it? I mean, you've got AI challenging how we think about privacy, AR glasses, making hardware almost invisible.
Right, dissolving into the background.
Exactly. And even physical phones changing shape just to make digital stuff easier to consume. It's all about weaving that digital layer like right into our reality.
Okay, let's definitely unpack that, starting with maybe the biggest news. Apple Intelligence. They're finally in the generative AI game.
Yep, they made their move. But their angle is, well, it's very Apple. It's all about privacy.
They're sort of weaponizing privacy, you could say, compared to the others.
That's a good way to put it. I mean, think about Google, OpenAI. They built these massive models in the cloud, right? Training on vast amounts of data.
Yeah, our data often.
Right. Apple's flipping that script. They're selling AI mostly as a feature that runs on the device you already own.
So my personal stuff, texts, photos, calendar details.
Yeah.
It stays on my phone. Doesn't get hoovered up by some server farm.
Largely, yes. That's the core promise. Your data stays local for most tasks.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask it something really complex that needs more horsepower, they have this thing called private cloud compute. But even then, they're making a big deal about how it runs only on their own chips, Apple Silicon.
Okay.
And they promise, like verifiably promise, that the data isn't stored, it isn't tracked, it's only used for that one specific request, and then poof, it's gone.
That's a really different approach. It feels less like just a new feature and more like a strategic play against the cloud giants, locking you into their ecosystem using privacy.
Absolutely. It's a moat built on privacy.
So practically speaking, what does this mean for using an iPhone? Siri's been, let's be honest, a bit of a joke for years.
Yeah. The perennial punchline. Well, Siri's finally getting smarter. The really cool feature, I think, is this on-screen awareness.
On-screen awareness.
Yeah. Basically, Siri can understand and act on whatever you're looking at on your screen right then and there. It stops being just a command taker and becomes more of a helper.
Okay, give me an example. How does that actually work?
All right, imagine you're in a group chat. Someone texts their new address and maybe a picture of a restaurant they want to try.
Okay.
Instead of copying the address, opening contacts, pasting, you just activate Siri and say, add this address to their contact card, or remind me to book this restaurant tomorrow.
And it just knows from the screen.
Exactly. It gets the context directly from what's displayed.
Yeah.
No more awkward copy pasting between apps.
That actually sounds really useful.
It is. And then for the stuff Apple's own AI maybe can't handle, like really broad general knowledge questions.
Right, the things you'd normally Google.
That's where the ChatGPT integration comes in. It's built right in.
Ah, okay. So they're partnering up.
Seamlessly, yeah. But again, with the privacy angle front and center, you, the user, are explicitly asked for permission before any personal info gets temporarily shared with ChatGPT.
So you still have control.
You're always in control. It's a clever way for them to offer top-tier AI smarts without compromising that core privacy promise.
Interesting. Okay, so if Apple's all about controlling our data, Meta seems to be pushing the boundaries of what the world sees about us. Let's talk about these controversial AR glasses.
Ah, yes, the Meta Ray-Ban display glasses, the ones with the augmented reality heads-up display. They're, what, $799?
Yeah, pricey. But the tech sounds groundbreaking, especially the input method.
It really is. They're pairing the glasses with this wristband, and it's not just a tracker, it's an EMG device, electromyography.
EMG. What does that do?
It reads the tiny electrical signals your muscles make when you move or even intend to move.
So it reads your mind.
Kidding?
Mostly.
Not quite mind reading, but close. It allows for micro-gesture control. You could, mimic writing with a pen in the air, or just make super subtle hand movements to control the glasses.
Without touching anything.
Exactly. Hands-free control through tiny gestures. It's a fundamentally different way to interact with tech.
I can see the convenience factor, like getting real-time translation subtitles right in your vision while talking to someone. You stay focused on them, not your phone.
Or keeping an eye on your kid while quickly checking some info. That's the pitch.
But do we need microgestures? Is this solving a real problem, or is it just, tech being tech? Complicated for complexity's sake.
And that's the core tension, isn't it? The convenience is undeniable in certain situations. But devices like this, always potentially recording or accessing information, well, the privacy alarms go off immediately.
Yeah, that whole panopticon effect thing, The feeling that you might be recorded changes how people act, makes them more self-conscious.
It absolutely does. And it's not just theoretical. Remember that demonstration by the Harvard students?
Vaguely. What did they do?
They used glasses like these to show real-time doxing, basically identifying strangers instantly by linking facial recognition to publicly available online data.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's kind of scary.
Right. It really throws that line between public anonymity and private information into sharp relief. What happens when anyone can potentially identify and profile anyone else at a glance?
That's a big question. Okay, let's shift from visuals to audio. Nothing, the company with the cool transparent designs, they just dropped the Ear 3 earbuds, right? Seemed kind of quick.
Yeah, it was a surprise. Usually it's more like a 2-year cycle for these things, but Ear 3 arrived much sooner. They kept that signature transparent look, of course.
And the case is different this time. More than just a charger.
Definitely. It's made of this recycled aluminum, feels pretty sturdy, but the big innovation is the case itself acting as a microphone.
The case is a microphone. How does that work?
They call it the super mic. You press and hold the case, and it basically becomes a dedicated antenna, specifically designed to cut through really loud background noise.
Like a noisy coffee shop or an airport.
Exactly. The idea is to capture your voice clearly even when the environment is chaotic. It's a pretty unique feature, especially for remote workers or maybe content creators on the go.
Turning the case into actual functional tech, not just storage.
Precisely.
Okay, that sounds clever. But looking at early feedback, are people happy? Weren't there complaints about noise cancellation on previous models?
That seems to be the trade-off, or at least the lingering question. Users are definitely still asking for stronger active noise cancellation, something that competes better with the top players like Sony or Bose.
So maybe they focused on this unique mic feature instead of really nailing the core ANC.
It's possible the super mic is innovative, no doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah, concerns about ANC strength and even some of the older issues around battery life and maybe durability, they haven't completely gone away. Users want the whole package. Right?
Makes sense. Okay, let's pivot again. From hardware back to software aesthetics. Apple's apparently ditching the flat look. Heard rumors about liquid glass.
Yeah, for iOS 26 and maybe the 20th anniversary iPhone in 2027, it's a potential shift back towards something more visually rich, what designers are calling glassmorphism.
Glassmorphism. Sounds shiny.
It is. Think sheen and see-through visuals, like a glassy surface. It uses dynamic layers that seem to react to light and motion, creating a sense of depth.
Okay, hang on. This sounds suspiciously like Windows Vista Aero. Am I crazy? The glassy, see-through stuff.
Huh. You're not crazy. That comparison comes up a lot. Design trends definitely cycle, right?
But Aero is kind of slow and clunky sometimes. Is this just making things pretty at the expense of performance?
Hopefully not. The idea now with modern processors and graphics is that you can handle these effects much more smoothly. It's about using transparency and blur, backdrop filter, blur in web terms, and subtle shadows, inset box shadow, to create distinct visual layers.
The content underneath sort of shows through.
Exactly. It gives a sense of depth, makes the interface feel less flat, more layered, almost like the digital elements are floating on these glossy panes.
Interesting. A return to shine.
A return to shine, yeah. We'll see how it actually looks and performs if it happens.
All right, last story. Let's talk folding phones. Samsung's apparently taking it to the next level.
Looks like it. The buzz is about the Galaxy Z Trifold. Reports suggest they might start manufacturing as early as September, aiming for a launch later this year.
Trifold, so it folds twice.
Yep. Instead of one fold like the current Z Fold, this one would have 2 hinges, opening up into an even larger screen. It really blurs that line between a phone and a proper tablet.
Okay, what's the point of that extra panel, that third section?
The main benefit seems to be creating a larger inner display that's better proportioned for certain tasks. Think reading dense material like scientific papers or digital textbooks where just a bit more screen width makes a big difference.
Right, less scrolling, easier to see charts and stuff.
Exactly. And it also makes running 2 apps side by side genuinely comfortable, apparently. Neither app feels squished or compromised.
So where does this fit in the bigger picture of flexible screens?
It just highlights how flexible displays are really the cutting edge for mobile right now. If you look at patents filed globally in this area, it's overwhelmingly dominated by companies in Asia, especially South Korea. Samsung and LG are huge players there, and mobile phones are the #1 application area for these patents, like over 30%.
So Samsung's just pushing its lead, trying to stay ahead by literally bending the screen even more.
Pretty much. They're defining the next iteration of the foldable market by pushing the physical form factor.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, We've got AI blurring data boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
AR glasses blurring the digital onto the real world, phones blurring their physical shape. It feels like this convergence is happening really, really fast.
It absolutely is, faster than I think most people realize. These devices, like the meta glasses, they let digital information sort of bleed into our physical environment. But it goes the other way, too.
How so?
Sophisticated VR and simulation tech. It's using simulated reality to actually change real-world behavior and skills in pretty profound ways.
Can you give an example of that, where simulation changes reality?
Sure. Look at companies like Walmart using VR for job training. They put employees in these immersive simulations,
Oh.
and they see measurable improvements in test scores and how well those skills transfer to the actual job. Or in medicine, using VR to treat conditions like hoarding disorder.
How does VR help with hoarding?
It creates a safe, controlled virtual space where people can practice organizing, making decisions about possessions without the overwhelming pressure of their actual home environment. Then they can apply those practice skills in real life.
Wow.
So yeah, the future isn't just faster chips or bigger screens. It's about how seamlessly technology weaves itself into every part of our lives, changing how we learn, how we work, even how we behave.
That's a really powerful thought to end on. Technology isn't just reflecting reality anymore, it's actively reshaping it. That's it for this week. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.